Hey, how do you feel about Mike McAllister? From the studios of the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian.
It's hot out there, so let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline,
Live from the studios of the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the February 28th, 2024 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues? Get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Granite Ridge Christian Camp, a place where your life can change. All right, I was having some fun with Mike McAllister, and we'll get into that. We'll get into some of the draft stuff. We got a nice mock draft from our friend Tim Burns, and we got some stuff to talk about today regarding the Rams and around the NFL. But I'm laughing right now because we're watching the start of the combine, right? Shirts and shorts. That's all these guys are in. There's not a game that's going to be played. And a lot of the high-end guys aren't going to really work out or throw the ball and stuff. But we love shirts and shorts. And it reminds me of my days when I was covering high school football at the Mid, is that by February, teams were coming out in their 7-on-7 throws. And you'd have two-ways and four-way throws between schools, and it was a laid-back atmosphere, kind of like spring training for high school football. But, boy, you got so much stuff, so much information. And here was the funny thing. Around that time of year, you had high school baseball teams starting their season, and even later on in the spring playing for league championships. You had basketball season winding down, basketball playoff games. But I could post a pic of a 7-on-7 throw with players in shirts and shorts. And in terms of clicks and the analytics, it would get 3 times as many hits than the baseball league championship story or the basketball playoff game. It's a football culture, right? And it's funny, right, that America is more interested in players running around in shirts and shorts this week than they are in spring training or the NBA. Shohei Ohtani aside, right? But football speaks, right? It just speaks to everybody. I think it's one of the last sports that touches the American DNA. And of course, the American DNA is figurative. But there was something about ancestors and individuals who crossed oceans, and some who were forcibly brought here, but still crossed the wilderness and made a living here, and made a life here, and built a whole generation of life here, right? They spoke about this during the Revolutionary War, that the work ethic of Washington's troops compared to the British regulars, it wasn't even comparable.
Stay in your lane, bro.
I'm staying in my lane, but this is about football. We love football because hard work can beat talent. Not will always beat talent, but it can beat talent. It's strategic. It's physical. People get knocked on their butts, but if they don't get back up, they will be unemployed. It speaks to that part of the American DNA that requires us to grind, right? And I'm speaking more of the soil and the land, right? Not necessarily the USA, because we've seen things in our culture now where people don't want to grind. But football speaks to people who want to grind, right? I may not have liked what had happened on a previous play. I may feel it was unjust or unjust what took place. But I'm getting my butt up because I have a job to do. And I think that's what it appeals about football. You know, the more you just look at it, it's unbelievable how it does. It's still, and even as the game progresses, as time goes on, it doesn't change. The basketball doesn't look anything like basketball used to look like. In fact, it's terrible basketball. But we're seeing great football, and we're seeing cycles of where things come in and they get figured out, and then they have to be adapted to, and then they're brought back in, and then they're adapted to, and they're brought back in. But Football's like that, man. That's life is like that, right? You can't stay the same person. You got to keep growing and maturing. So, yeah, shirts and shorts when it comes to football, Americans are into it, and I do love that that's what's great about football. All right. So let's get to some Rams stuff. And I brought up Mike McAllister. Did you know Mike McAllister is officially the only center on the Rams roster today, unless Steve Avila slides over and starts playing center? Mike McAllister, of course, was an undrafted free agent. He was on the practice squad. He didn't play last year. Chances are he's not going to play this year. And the reason is Coleman Shelton, the undrafted free agent who bounced around the league from Tennessee to Arizona and starting in Frisco, became the Rams starting center. And he exercised his option and is now an unrestricted free agent. He is projected at, 5.3 rocks a year, roughly 16 total for 3 years. And that's his projection. He's not a great center, but I have no problem, now that you've put Brian Allen in the street, I have no problem swinging that deal and bringing Coleman Shelton back. Of course, everyone's flush with more cash now because of the salary cap going up 31 million. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out. But Coleman Shelton's going to get paid. He's worked hard for it, and you kind of feel happy for him, right? How many times was he knocked on his butt, but told him he was no good, right? And yet he kept coming and he kept grinding. Gotta love that. Okay, I hope everything's cool. I see people popping in and out. If you're there, leave a comment, hit the like button. What we're seeing is a lot of people popping in. Numbers are just going all over the place here. I can't speak to it. Just let me know. But here we go. Let's look at Tim Burns, our good friend Tim Burns from up north. Let's look at his mock draft that he sent me. And he sent me the mock draft with this. He says, this is what I came up with for who I want based on whom I expect to still be available when their pick arrives. Obviously, a run on cornerbacks is something, or just some surprise choices makes it a variable nightmare of randomness. Of course, it does. So without any other thought to what teams are likely to decide, Tim Burns sent me his list here. And, he likes big and fast. I wanted to get that in there. Okay, at number 19, Mr. Burns has the Rams taking Iowa corner Cooper DeJean. Now, or DeJean, whatever, however they pronounce it. And he's been a Burns special for the last month or so. It was funny. I saw him originally in a top 10, and then I saw him in the back of the first round. He's been a consistent player in the back of the first round in several mock drafts. I'm not going to argue with it. I'm not going to argue with it at all. Go Cooper DeJean. Now, the other one that was interesting at number 52, second round pick, he projects the Rams taking Chop Robinson, the edge out of Penn State. And what's happening with Chop Robinson is you're going to see is he is trending high now. He has gone from the second round to late first round to almost middle of the first round because he's a super athlete, and it does speak to a Rams need. And if you wanted to take an edge at 52, I think I'm better with that than taking him at 19. At number 83, he really got me on this one, Brendan Rice, wide receiver, USC. Brendan Rice really picked up his game in the back half and did a lot of work for himself this year. He projects right now, when you look on some of the draft boards, as maybe the 75th overall, that he would go early in the third round. And so if he's still available at number 83, good call by Mr. Burns to grab him. Brendan Rice, 6'3", 210. He's got the intangibles. He also doesn't have probably the speed of an NFL wide receiver, but neither did his dad, right? And if the Rams can grab him, I like that. I like that grab. 100 in the third round. Tim Burns has the Rams taking Blake Fisher, Notre Dame right tackle, 3-year starter. At that point, he's projected to go a little earlier. So if you can get him there, third round, I'll take it at number 100. So good job there. This one was interesting. At number 153 in the fifth round, Tim Burns projects the Rams taking James Williams, safety out of Miami. He's 6'5", 215, and he looks really good, but his stock is dropped, and I think it has to do with his foot speed. and that's why he's available so late. He might not become a starter at 6'5", 215. He might turn into something else, and of course, he could be a special teams guy. With Mike McAllister, the only Ram center on the roster now, Mr. Burns comes in at number 154, 5th round, taking Drake Nugent, center out of Michigan. Hey, he's a Michigan man, right? Great depth piece. At number 191 in the 6th round, Jace McClellan, running back, Alabama. Solid depth piece there, no problem. And then at 212 in the 6th round, Joshua Carty, kicker, Stanford. We looked at him because last week, Dano, another loyal RamView follower, he projected Josh Carty at number 218 for the Rams out of Stanford. And we looked him up, and Carty has only missed 2 kicks inside the 50 since he was at Stanford, right? And so, man, if a guy's only going to miss 2 kicks and he's only missed 1 extra point, yeah, I'll take a swing on Josh Carty and get him out of the Stanford Cardinal. Tim Burns has him going at 212. 217, Darius Masau, linebacker, UCLA. He's got all the intangibles there, size, some speed. He could be a surprise. If not, he could be a really solid special teams player. And then at number 218 is a guy that I liked a lot this season, but he hasn't hit high on draft boards. People aren't high on him, is Sam Hartman, quarterback, Notre Dame. I like Hartman better than I did Stetson Bennett, but people have soured on Hartman. And I'm wondering if he's going to go 7th round or if he gets drafted at all. Tim Burns projects him 6th round, 218 overall. I wouldn't have a problem with that. You don't bring Stetson Bennett back. Justin Fields goes to Atlanta. Carson Wentz has no market. He resigns with the Rams. And then Sam Hartman is the Rams practice squad quarterback. I'll live with that. That sounds good to me. All right. Thank you, Mr. Burns. Nice job. Anybody else throw it out there? These are good picks, and I appreciate you guys doing it. We know the landscape's starting to change because there's a lot of free agency. A lot of players are getting cut because of cap space right now. And so we're seeing a lot of movement. And so we're really not going to get a better grip of this probably till we get to April. And most of the high-end free agents have already signed. But I do love this. And I'm good. Dano, Tim Burns, I'm good with a 2.0 draft from you guys. All right. Around the MVL and other places, the Chiefs have put Marquez Valdez-Scantling in the street. That's a 12 rock cap savings for the Chiefs, right? Let alone what they got when the NFL bumped up the salary cap. So that lets you know Chris Jones ain't going anywhere. And then the other day they franchise tagged L'Jarius Sneed, which, as a Ram fan, that was a nice dream for about 5 minutes, the dream of a guy like L'Jarius Sneed. Tampa Bay released Shaq Barrett. I felt they overpaid for him. I felt like he had that good year, and after that, I just thought he was kind of ordinary. But they're moving off of Shaq Barrett, who's 31. That saves them money. Packers have restructured Preston Smith, and that was a good move for the Packers. And again, things are just really looking up. Packers, Lions, and with that salary cap bump, that's going to help the 49ers as well. The NFC isn't going to be the weak sister much longer. So wanted to get that in there. Getting back to Last Ad NBA about why people are watching football. And there was this thing, somebody sent it to me. Colin Cowherd talked about it, but I'll just touch on it. And Colin Cowherd's talking about how the NBA doesn't have a face. And I saw the clip. And NBA there's no face in the NBA. LeBron's getting too old. And Cowherd gave his reasons. And I'll give reasons why the NBA is not popular, why 5 times as many people are likely to watch Caitlin Clark than they are Utah versus Los Angeles in a basketball game. And I'll say 3 things that I think have killed basketball. One, or we'll start at number 3, the uniforms, right? The uniforms. Hey, just have a traditional uniform so I know what your brand is, so I know who you are, so I know who's playing. The uniforms look stupid. They really do. And stop appealing to every group out there. Just put Valley of the Sun, put Los Angeles Lakers, and Lakers don't wear black. Lakers shouldn't wear Sunday whites. It's disgusting to see those colors on the Lakers, especially a traditional franchise like the Lakers. But I think the uniforms, it's constantly fluid. They plant no roots. It's very it's very temporary. Everything in the NBA feels temporary, and you can't build. So that's one of the reasons I think some people have lost interest. Two, yes, I think it is the politics. I think when NBA players talk about oppression when they're making $47 million, it does have a tendency to turn people off. And no matter what people say, when you kneel, yeah, it upsets people, and so people are going to turn off. Now, did everyone go away? No, everyone didn't go away. But for some reason, you have your Gilbert Arenas out there, and you have everyone else talking all their neck, and people just get sick of it. And then here's the key part: we'll put up with the uniforms, we'll put up with the politics. Forget, I'm going to use a bad word here to some people. The basketball sucks. It's just bad basketball. They're the most talented players we've ever had, most skilled players we've ever had, but it's just bad basketball. And so adios NBA. I'd rather watch college guys in shirts and shorts running the 40, doing cone drill, because I love the NFL draft. I love the aspect of football and how it speaks to who we are as Americans. All right, there we go. I'm Joe Terosian. I was a sports writer for 21 years. And now, thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law and Temple City Auto, I get to do RamView, which I'm blessed to do. I also write books. My books are on Amazon. Mr. Burns, I hope you finished Tangent Dreams. I didn't get a review yet. Let me know how that went. But my books can be found on Amazon. I've written 2 high school football novels. I got a third football novel in edits. It's called Game Day in the Ram Cave. Got a bunch of friends watching a Ram game and everything that can happen when you're watching a game. Those jobs, doing RamView and writing books, support me in my day job as I pastor a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene. And you can see us right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, as well across social media at burbankfaithvirtual.com. And I was one of the founding members at Mid-Valley Sports. Those guys, Tim and Dwayne, are still in the room. They cover the Chargers, but I, thanks to our sponsors, get to cover the Rams. So I don't know if we have any questions out there. All right. Let's say USA Expat. What part of North, Tim, if you don't mind me asking? Hey, man, this is my show, a USA Expat. Tim Burns, man, can't come in here and just dominate the racket. He's in NorCal. I'll let him tell you the rest. USA Expat. It's impossible to follow the NBA today when you grew up with John Wooden's pyramid. I'm not going to argue. I wonder what Chick Hearn would think, right? Chick Hearn was critical of the Lakers when they were bad, and I'm just wondering what Chick Hearn would think of today's game. So we'll come back to it if there's more questions down the road, and let's just get through this show, do some updates. I was holding off talking about individual rooms, like the wide receiver room, the cornerback room, the offensive line room, and talk about everybody that's on the roster all the way down to the practice squad. But I'm going to touch on the wide receiver room right now, and because people are wondering, why are we pushing for a wide receiver in the first 100? And Tim Burns, I think, gets it immediately. He got in Brennan Rice there. That was a great pick in his mock draft. And here's the reason for me. Here's the reason why I want a receiver drafted in the first 100. Maybe not at 19, but at 52, 83, or 100 is when you look at who the Rams have. Nakua, great receiver, good job. But the way he plays, even if he doesn't get hurt, he's going to need help. Cooper Kupp will be 31 this season, 32 in 2025. And I believe our Super Bowl window is open in 24 and 25. But Kupp will be 31 this year, 32 in 2025. Demarcus Robinson's only here on a 1-year deal, and he's 30 now. And we don't know where that's going to go. Atwell, last year of his rookie deal. Do you really think the Rams are going to bring him back? I like Atwell. I'm pro Atwell. But you wonder what his future is. And Skoranek, Skoranek is just a chess piece. He's just a guy that you plug in at different places. I like Skoranek, but he's in the last year of his rookie deal in 2024. I could see him being re-signed because I don't see a market for him. But now that the Rams are in this position, in a draft that could have 17 players go in the first 100. Now, I'm not saying that. That was a mock draft. I think it was, did I post it? It was CBS Sports on Monday. In the CBS Sports mock draft, it showed 17 receivers going in the first 100 and 21 wide receivers going in the first 4 rounds. So with the first 4 picks, with the Rams 4 picks inside the top 100, they need to take a receiver now, because that receiver might not be a major contributor here in 2024. He could be if there's injuries, but he would definitely be a contributor by 2025. Just something to consider. Rams have 11 picks, 4 in the first 100. They don't have a pick in the 4th round. Then in the 5th round, they got 153, 154. And then they have a bunch of picks in the 6th round, last picks at 218. None in the 7th round so far. Okay, speaking of draft, looking at Bucky Brooks's mock draft, his 2.0 mock draft. It would be, I thought it would be good to look at it real quick, just first round. And I'm just kind of throwing names that we've been seeing now and getting familiar with. We want to be familiar with names. He has Caleb Williams, as most do now, going to the Bears. Jaden Daniels, number 2 to the Washington Texans. New England taking Drake May at 3. Locking in again, Marvin Harrison, number 4. You're just seeing that all across the board. Marvin Harrison, number 4 to Arizona. He jumped Joe Alt up to number 5 for the Chargers. Malik Neighbors, the LSU receiver, number 6 to the Giants. Rome Odunze, the Washington receiver, number 7 to the Titans. Alabama edge, Dallas Turner, number 8 to the Falcons. The UCLA guy who's been projected many times to the Rams, Leatu Latu, number 9 to the Bears. And again, I understand he looks really good, but man, how do you get past his injury history? I don't know. Jets, number 10, Talisi Fuage out of Oregon State. He's the right tackle. Vikings, number 11, Jared Verse. Denver, number 12, J.J. McCarthy. Raiders, number 13, Oluma Fashanu, the tackle from Penn State. Saints, number 14, J.C. Latham, the tackle from Alabama. Colts, number 15, cornerback Terrion Arnold, Alabama. Number 16, Brock Bowers, going to Seattle. Seattle still not projecting Seattle to take a quarterback at number 16 or finding their way to get a quarterback. Brock Bowers going to the Seahawks at 16. That would mean, are you not going to re-sign Noah Fant? Jaguars, number 17, Nate Wiggins. He was projected to the Rams in an earlier mock by Lance Zierlein. Cincy, Illinois DT, Jerzon Newton. And then this one's interesting, and I thought this was interesting for Mr. Burns as well as others, as he has climbed the ladder. Mr. Burns projected Chop Robinson, number 52, to the Rams in the 2nd round. Well, from Mr. Burns' fingertips to Bucky Brooks' ears, he has Chop Robinson going to the Rams at number 19. This guy has just been climbing the ladder over and over and over, and it'll be interesting to see come draft day where Chop Robinson is. Interesting, in Bucky Brooks's first mock draft in January, he had the Rams taking Bo Nix at number 19. And it's funny, I'll tell you right now, in his new mock draft, he doesn't have Bo Nix anywhere near the 1st round. Number 20, the Steelers taking Amarius Mims, the DT. Troy Fontenot out of Washington going to Miami at number 21. Cornerback Quinyon Mitchell, Philly at 22. Byron Murphy going to Houston at number 23. Tyler Guyton, tackle, going to Cowboys at number 24. Cooper DeJean, number 25, going to the Packers. LSU wide receiver Brian Thomas going to the Buccaneers at number 26. Good for an eventual loss of Mike Evans, maybe. Kool-Aid McKinstry, who many have dropped out of the 1st round. 1st round for Bucky Brooks, number 27, to the Cardinals. The Bills, number 28, Keon Coleman, Florida State. First time I've seen this guy in the 1st round. Washington edge rusher Braylon Trice, number 29, to the Lions. Graham Barton, interior offensive lineman, number 31, to the 49ers out of Duke. And then Darius Robinson, DT, Missouri Chiefs, number 32. Now, that one's interesting, again, as they've put players in the street. They've tagged L'Jarius Sneed, bumping salary cap. Would the Chiefs be as hot right now to go get another defensive tackle if they're going to ink Jones to the biggest contract of his career? Because I'm guessing if the Chiefs ink Chris Jones to a long-term deal, they might be looking at a wide receiver in the 1st round. And there's still, of course, plenty of wide receivers. So I wanted to get that through. I thought that was pretty interesting, where Chop Robinson just keeps climbing and climbing. Looking at the Rams schedule, We've gone over the 49ers, Cardinals, Seahawks. Looking at the Bears, who were 7-10 last year, they have 3 picks in the first 100, 1, 9, and 75. They re-signed Montez Sweat. He had 16 sacks last year. He played really well for them, and it really looks like it seems to really be settling around Caleb Williams. And he came out today and said, or yesterday, saying he's happy to be in Chicago. That would be great. They got free agents. Jalen Johnson is their big one. Wide receiver Darnell Mooney, tight end Robert Tonyan, and their starting center, who wasn't all that special, Lucas Patrick. They're all key free agents. The Bears still got Eberflus at HC, and they got Shane Waldron at OC. It'll be interesting. I don't know. The Bears just don't impress me that much. I think defensively, I think they're going to have holes. I know Montez Sweat is good, but I think they're going to have holes unless you can bring back a Jalen Johnson. Besides their home games against the Lions, Packers, Bears, Lions, Packers, Vikings, the Bears host the Rams, Seahawks, Jaguars, Titans, Panthers, Patriots. So there's room there for the Bears to pick off some wins. And then away, they play the Cardinals, 49ers, Texans, Colts, and Texans. And again, I bring this up is because they're on the Rams schedule. Now, when the Rams play them, it really depends on when the Rams play them. I think either way, the Rams should win this game. But we've all seen good Ram teams go into cold, windy winter nights in Chicago, right? Even in 2018, it happened. It'll be interesting to see when this game is played. But mostly, I like the Rams against the Bears this year. And we'll just keep on chugging away at the schedule. All right. I think we're getting to it here. Yeah, I think we're good. All right. Let's go to.
It was a stone group, my man.
It is a stone group, but we're not done yet. This date, February 28th in Rams history. After 8 seasons, 119 games, 5 picks, 11 fumble recoveries, 72.5 sacks, including 4 double-digit seasons for sacks and 2 back-to-back years. In 1988-89 with 16.5 sacks. The 5th-round pick the Rams acquired from the Bills in 1984 for Preston Dennard left the Rams as an unrestricted free agent. And I know that sounds a long way around the horn to say this is the day, because it was the start of the new season in 93, this is the day that Kevin Green became a free agent and left the Rams forever. Bummer, right? You knew things were just trending poorly. How could you lose Kevin Green, right? How could you lose Kevin Green unless you had your sights set on St. Louis the whole time? But Kevin Green ends up in the Hall of Fame, does his work with the Steelers and everybody else. So good for Kevin Green, the late Kevin Green. But again, wanted to bring that up because we talked about it a few months ago. Preston Dennard was a great receiver for the Rams, undrafted free agent, Klosterman find, and then they dealt him in 1984, coming out of camp or just going into camp, and for a following season, 5th-round pick that turned out to be 113 overall, and that's how the Rams scored Kevin Green. Just wanted to get that out of there. I want to speak bad news about this date in 2003. The Rams finally gave up on Trung Cadendet, who had been a number 1 draft pick. They sent him to Washington for a 4th-rounder and a throwaway player, and no one did anything for either team there. And then here was the one that really kind of got to me a little bit. On this date in 2007, the Rams released Adam Timmerman. Now, Adam Timmerman, most Ram fans in LA won't remember, but he was the starting right guard for the Greatest Show on Turf teams. And he was originally drafted by the Packers, 7th round, 230th overall in 1995 out of North Dakota State. Right, 6'4", 310, played out his contract with the Packers, and then signed a 5-year deal with the Rams, and it got extended. And he ended up playing with the Rams from 99 through 2006. Think about this: played in 2 Super Bowls, 126 games, started 124. He only missed 2 games in 8 seasons with the Rams. And he's just forgotten to history, right? Of course, all the glow of the Greatest Show on Turf is going to go to Warner and those receivers and Marshall Faulk, and we totally understand it. But the bummer is that this guy continued to play really well, and he's just lost because those teams were so horrible post Greatest Show on Turf. But I just think Adam Timmerman deserves to be remembered. He was a great Ram, and 6'4", 310, South Dakota State, 7th round pick. The Packers found him. Rams shined him up and got 2 Pro Bowls out of him and a Super Bowl. So let's remember Adam Timmerman fondly. Nothing big else on this date. As far as transactions, Rams released Gus Frerotte, journeyman quarterback who beat out Heath Schuler in Washington in the early 90s. And then on this day in 2017, the Rams actually franchise tagged Trumaine Johnson in his last year with the Rams. In 2018, they would franchise tag LaMarcus Joyner. And of course, on this day in 2021, at the age of 81, Irv Cross passed away. Mr. NFL Today, everyone liked Irv Cross. Who doesn't like Irv Cross, right? And it was even cooler when I found out that he played with the Rams as a kid, and 1966 through 68. He was sent back to Philly in 69, and the Rams got future Hall of Fame right tackle Bob Brown and defensive back Jim Nettles, who put together some really good years for the Rams from 69 through 72. But Irv Cross passed away on this day in 81, and I'm sorry, at the age of 81, and just deserves to be remembered. He had Pro Bowl seasons with the Eagles. And of course, as want to do, George Allen saw this guy in 66 and got him to the Rams for 3 seasons. And he did a really nice job for the Rams. Started the whole time he was there. Okay, I think we got that. And since we're not on the air tomorrow and we get an extra day in February, want to acknowledge the birth of former Ram defensive back Al Clark, who played at Eastern Michigan. He passed away in 2004 at the age of 56, but Al Clark played 69 games in the NFL, 46 with the Rams, was a heck of a special teams player for the Rams from 72 through 75. In 76, he joined Dick Vermeil and was a starting cornerback for Dick Vermeil in Philly in 76, and then he retired. Of course, Al Clark is the guy that picked off Roger Staubach when the Cowboys were driving in the 1973 regular season game between the Rams and Cowboys. Rams are up 37-31. Staubach's driving the Cowboys, and Al Clark picked off Staubach. So Al Clark will always have a special place in the Ram cave. Okay, I think we got all of that out there. That's cool. So we do have a couple of questions. Let's see here. Brian B, let's go Rams. Hey, Brian B, thank you for clicking on. I appreciate it. Yes, Bill, Snead was franchised. What a bummer, huh? Tim Burns, Newhouse to Richards is one of my earliest football memories. Rest in peace. Newhouse, are you talking the Super Bowl? Is that it? Was that your first Super Bowl? What a bummer, Mr. Burns, that was your first Super Bowl. Of all the Super Bowls I watched, I hated that one the most. I think it was coming off the Mud Bowl, the 77 one between the Broncos and the Cowboys. I couldn't stand that game. Oh, I was so upset. I just hated to watch that. Who covers Harrison 2 times a year now? Yeah, that's a great call there, right? Because I don't know if even if we re-sign Akilla Witherspoon, if that's what it's going to be. That's a great point there, USA Expat. The best advantage on who covers Harrison is the good news is Kyler Murray is yet to show that he really can sustain anything. And Kyler Murray is, again, I'll go back to this. He makes splash plays, right? He makes plays that are wow, but he doesn't make the consistent play. And we know he doesn't like to get hit anymore. And so maybe that's it. Maybe that's where we go. If not, let's find that corner that can cover Harrison. Tim Burns, trade note. I just heard San Francisco offered Jimmy G and 2 number 1s for Stafford. So the same offer as Goff, 2 number 1s, and wow. Hey, I'm going to tell you something. That off season, was the season was coming to an end, I was writing just my column. I wasn't doing the on the air stuff. And I said, hey, look out for Stafford to go to the 49ers. And instead he came to the Rams. So, Brad Holmes knew he didn't want Jimmy G, right? No matter what we felt about Goff, Brad Holmes knew what he had in Goff versus Jimmy G. Let's see here. Tim Burns, Snead just said for the continuity of the wide receiver crew, he had to keep Robinson. I agree. I agree. That absolutely had to happen. And at $5 million, well, $4 million, $1 million in incentives. what a great deal to bring him back. See if we can get another year out of him, and maybe because he hasn't had those heavy production years, maybe he's still fresh and spry at 31 and 32. We'll find out. All we know is that he did develop a nice rapport with Stafford. Stafford trusts him. He's big, I think it's great. But you took care of it, Mr. Burns. You took the receiver with 83rd overall pick because age is still age, and we need to keep replenishing that room. I do like Demarcus Robinson. Tim Burns. Timmerman was a beast. He really was. And too bad he's forgotten. It's just too bad that he's kind of been left out in the cold. Bill, I see a world where we sign Beckham and have a great 4 wide receiver set. Do you like Beckham? I was fearful. This is what I was fearful of, Bill. I was fearful of the Rams re-signing OBJ and letting DeMarcus walk. I'm not real impressed with OBJ. He got up to play the Rams, right? But there were just times this season he just vanished. And, do we want to put that on Lamar? No one will put anything on Lamar. So did he just vanish or what? He didn't have a great season. Maybe at the first year back from another serious knee injury. But I wouldn't bring OBJ back for anything but a veteran's minimum. And if he wanted to prove something or, he just wanted to have another run with the Rams, I guess that's cool. I'll throw something at you guys. And you guys could ask me the question here before we click out. We're not quite at 40 minutes yet. What if the Rams went crazy and just said, you know what? We're going to draft a wide receiver at number 19. We're going to draft a frontline receiver, a Brian Thomas or somebody like that at number 19. How would you feel about that? How would you feel about the Rams just saying, yeah, you know what? We're just going to go for it and give Stafford as many weapons as they can. Now, that would also mean they're taking care of Alaric Jackson. They're taking care of Coleman Shelton. Those guys are taken care of. And that somewhere in free agency, they've already taken care of corner and edge. So, but of course you could pick up edge. I'm not really looking for an edge in the first round. I'm looking for an edge in the first 100. I'm not looking for an edge in the first round. So I'd love to know what you guys think about that. Tim Burns, I was mistaken for Timmerman at JFK, so I signed his name, my only autograph request. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Hey, I get mistaken for Sean Penn, believe it or not. There we go. I don't know why I'm not mistaken for being Brad Pitt, but so hey, nothing wrong being compared to Adam Timmerman, Mr. Burns. That's good. All right, guys. Did you guys have any other questions you wanted to throw out there? I'm happy to stick around for a couple more minutes. USA expat 19, yes, wide receiver. If I'm sorry, BPA. Can you clarify for me real quick, BPA? Yeah, I'd be down for a wide receiver, obviously, for sure. Next couple weeks, we're going to get into, again, breaking down the rooms, and I'll really go deep into seeing, who's on the practice squad and who was on the practice squad and everything. And we'll work all those rooms out, looking at more mock drafts, looking at seeing who's going to be cut. That was the bummer of the expansion of the salary cap, is that teams we thought this was really going to crush them, they're kind of back in the game. And so that'll be interesting to see. Yes, Bill. I'm sorry, USA expat, best player available. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That was kind of the Klosterman call. I can, now I'm really going to throw myself back here. I can remember when the Rams drafted Capoletti in 74. The headline said Rams can start a track team. I think that was the Times headline when the Rams drafted Capoletti in the first round in 74, and no one could understand it because you just had McCutcheon coming off a 1,000-yard season. Bertelsen was in his prime, ran for 854 yards, and it was just a question. I think I do remember reading it as the Klosterman and the Rams were saying that, hey, at that pick, Capoletti was the best one available. And it was interesting is it was in that summer that they not only drafted Capoletti, but that was the summer they made the move to turn Colin Bryant from a defensive back into a running back. And so the Rams were flush help in that backfield there. And so you're running Bertelson, you're running McCutcheon, you're running Bryant, you're running Capoletti, and then you bring in, I think a year later, Hot Rod Phillips. Anyone remember Rod Phillips? And then Rob Scribner, who was an undrafted free agent out of UCLA. And Rob Scribner had that big game against Pittsburgh in '75. Just thought I'd throw that out there. What was Madonna like, Sean? While I was dating Madonna, I covered myself in holy water the whole time, man. It was kind of scary. There you go. Tim Burns, Tangent Dreams is spicier than I expected. Nice. Spicier than you expected. Uh-oh. I don't know what that means. Okay. You guys could correct me. Hey, I hate to leave, guys. We got people watching, and I'm happy talking Rams football. I can't tell you enough how grateful I am for you guys that have clicked on this time of year. We have exceeded everything we thought. We're a small fish in the pond, and we've picked up 40 listeners or followers since the end of the football season. It's amazing. Every time I click on, we look at our numbers, and we're just grateful for that. And we just want to talk football. We want to talk Ram football. And this was a question that was asked to me, and I'm going to read it. It was a cell phone question. It was a question of do you want to be, closer to the Rams? Do you want to get credentialed by the Rams and all that kind of stuff? Because, I was a sports writer for 21 years. And my thing is, it's hard for me to go to a football game now because I am an elitist and I'm a snob. And I don't want to sit in the stands with dance cam, kiss cam, and all those distractions. I just want to watch the football game. I don't want to sit in the stands and have people going up and down the aisles buying $20 worth of beer for a game that's a timed event. I mean, I'm not going to miss any football, and you can't see the game because you're trying to move it. And so I'm kind of spoiled that way. So, yeah, if I got credentialed by the Rams, yeah, that would be great to go into the press box again. I love the press box because you're with like-minded people, you're watching the game and all that. But with that said, what comes with that is, sometimes you don't get to speak your mind. Sometimes you don't get to share what you want to share. And I've had more than one occasion someone say, well, you can't share this. Or if you share, and it wasn't something they told me in confidence or something we said off the record, but just stuff you saw, things that happened. And I literally, not at high school level either, next level up, tell me, oh no, you can't talk about that. If you mention that, we'll pull your credential. And I don't like that. It's always fun to know things. It's always fun to have a connection in the room. But I like this. I like investing time, studying the sport, studying the game, studying your team, hearing from like-minded people who are into the game. And then what happens is you make a call before any of the experts make the call, right? Or anybody that's in the room. And let's just talk about it. We said here last summer, Rams were going to be 9-8, at worst 8-9, and with a little bit of luck, they could be 10-7. And guess where they were? And we weren't in the room. And it's not rocket science. It's just if you want to put yourself into it. And so much of sports media is quote driven now. It's about shock value. And credential would be fun, but it's not what I'm looking forward to. I like this better. And also, I'm not really care about interviewing players. I really don't, because players are so trained now in media. There's a few of them that give you something great, but most of them don't. I just go back to Ryan Day at Ohio State. He's getting interviewed going in halftime of the Michigan game, and it's like, what do you got to do to win? Well, we got to run the ball, stop the run, and not turn the ball over. It's pretty much what you hear. Well, we're young. We're a young team. And it's like they don't give you anything. So it's better to do it this way. I find it much more fun this way. I know that's a long answer. Sorry, Steve, from I'm not going to say where Steve's from, but he had texted me that. Okay, Tim Burns, you get credentialed, then I'm moving to Burbank and living with you guys. Yeah, okay. Don't hold your breath, Chief. I am not going to get credentialed. Just give me a good review on Tangent Dreams. Tell all your friends to buy it. The kid needs a new pair of shoes. Okay. Hey, guys, I'm going to let you go. It's been great. Thank you for being here, and it's always fun. God bless. Talk to you soon.